In this video, your goal should be that you can solve problems using multiple operations using the order of operations, or in this case, Gemdas. Now you might be asking yourself, what is Gemdas, or what is the order of operations? Basically what it is, it's a set of rules that mathematicians have created in order to make sure that everyone solves math problems the same way. For example, if I write 5 times 2 plus 3, some people might say, well, 5 times 2 is 10, plus 3 equals 13, while others might say, well, 2 plus 3 is 5. 5 times 5 is 25. As you see, this isn't really efficient, so they needed a set of rules to make sure everyone solves problems the same way. So let's go through each of these steps and discuss what each of these letters and each of these steps represents. G stands for groups. Now, groups can be parentheses. Some of you may have even heard of PEMDAS, but we don't use PEMDAS anymore because there are multiple groups, including parentheses, absolute values, brackets. So there's multiple groups that we can talk about, and we want to account for all of those when we're solving these problems. E stands for exponents. M and D stand for multiplication and division, and the S and the A stand for addition and subtraction. Now, if you notice, there's these arrows that go from left to right throughout multiplication and division and addition and subtraction. And the reason this is because if I have three numbers, I'm just going to put a variable A, B, and C. So A times B divided by C. And I'm looking for the solution. I need to be able to remember to multiply or divide first A, then B, then divide B by C. And in the case where we might have A divided by B times C equaling something, because division comes first from left to right, we would divide first, then multiply. And the same thing happens when we're working with addition and subtraction. For example, if I had A minus B plus C, I would subtract first, then add. This may be a little bit confusing right now, so let's go through some examples to better clear this up. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go through a few examples together, and I'm going to have you practice a few of these problems on your own. Once we have a chance to practice these problems on our own, then we'll have you restart the video so you can see if you got these problems correct. So first, let's attend to these examples. So we have 15 minus 2 times 6. If I look at my order of operations, I see that multiplication comes first before subtraction. So I'm going to want to multiply 2 times 6, and that's going to be 12. I drop down everything else, including the 15 and the subtraction symbol. 15 minus 12 is 3. Now following this, we have 25 divided by 5 plus 20. So I see that division takes priority before addition. So I want to divide 25 by 5, which gives me a quotient of 5. I drop down everything else. 5 plus 20, which equals 25. Now here we have absolute value brackets. So this is something that would be a group. And I want to take care of this first. Now, negative 18 divided by 6, we learned today a negative divided by a positive is a negative number. So this is actually going to be negative 3, and I can't forget about those absolute value brackets, times 2. Now, the absolute value of negative 3 is going to be positive 3. I'm going to drop down everything else, and 3 times 2 is just 6. So what I'd like you to do now is try these examples on your own, and in a moment we'll practice these together. Now that you've had some time to practice these skills on your own, let's go through some together. So for practice problem 1, you should see that we have 4 times 2 plus 6. Multiplication takes priority. 4 times 2 equals 8, plus 6, which is just 14. In our next example, we do have a group. We have 10 minus 17, which is going to give me negative 7 And remember, we took care of this before multiplication. We took care of the subtraction before the multiplication because we have these absolute value brackets, which means this is a group. So 10 minus 17 is going to give me the absolute value of negative 7 times 5. Next, I'm going to drop this down. The absolute value of negative 7 is positive 7 times 5, which is going to give me a product of 35. Now, in our next example, we have 8 times 11 divided by 44. So again, I'm going to work from left to right, multiplication and division. We want to work left to right. Multiplication comes first. 8 times 11 is 88. We divide this by 4, and we simply just get 22. Now, in our next example over here, we have a couple examples that have 3 operations or more. So again, just like last time, we're going to go through these examples together. And then once you're done with that, we're going to practice question 1, practice question 2, and practice question 3 together. So I'm going to notice that exponents are involved here, so those take priority before multiplication or addition and subtraction. So 4 squared is the same thing as saying 4 times 4. So I want to make that clear again. It's not 4 times 2. I almost made that mistake right now. So this is saying we're multiplying 4 by itself twice, which is going to give me 16. I drop down everything else. Divided by 2 minus 7. 16 divided by 2, we're going to take care of division first, is going to give me 8 minus 7, which is just positive 1. In our next example, we have 9 divided by 3 plus 3 squared. Again, we take care of our exponents first. So we have 3 to the 3rd power, which is the same thing as 3 times 3 times 3. This will give me 27. I drop down everything else. I want to take care of division first, so 9 divided by 3 gives me a quotient of 3 plus 27, which will just give me a solution of 30. Now in our next example, we see that we have a group that we want to take care of first. So 3 plus 2 will give me 5. I want to keep these in parentheses because I want to remember that anything next to a parentheses means multiplication. Minus 2 to the 3rd, so now we can take care of our exponents. 2 to the 3rd is the same thing as 2 times 2 times 2, which in this case is 8. I drop down everything else. 4 times 5 minus 8. So next, I want to take care of this. 4 times 5 is 20. Minus 8 is going to give me 12 as my difference. So what I'd like you to do now is to copy these problems. If you want, you can pause the video and copy problem 1, practice problem 2, and practice problem 3. And in a moment, once you try solving those on your own, we'll go through them together. Now that you've had some time to try these problems on your own, let's go through them together. So the first thing I notice is that I have a group, so I want to take care of that group first. 18 divided by 3 is going to give me a quotient of 6. I keep my parentheses and I drop everything else down. My next step, I'm going to multiply 3 times 6, which is 18. I drop everything else down. Now I'm going to want to work from left to right. Now 5 minus 18 is going to give me negative 13 plus 10. Negative 13 plus 10 is going to give me a sum of positive 3. In our next example, I have an exponent inside of my group. I also have addition inside of my group, so I want to make sure that I take care of the exponent first. So we just learned from a previous problem that 2 to the 3rd power is the same thing as 2 times 2 times 2. This is going to give me 8 plus 6 divided by 2 plus 100. 8 plus 6 is 14 divided by 2 plus 100. Now we're working with division next. 14 divided by 2 gives me 7 plus 100, which is just 107. Next, for problem 3, we actually have two exponents, and luckily for me, I can take care of those both at the same time to save us some space. 2 squared is the same thing as 10 times 10, which is just 100, plus 40, and divided by 8 to the third once more, that's 8. So now I want to take care of division first, so 40 divided by 8, that will give me 5. I drop down the 100 plus, and this will just give me 105 as my sum. I hope you've reached your goal of being able to solve problems with multiple operations using the order of operations or Gemdas. If you have any questions on this skill, I'll be sure to post other videos on Schoology to assist you with this, and have a great day.